Samsung is making two foldables this year, but these phones are clearly built for two completely different audiences. The Galaxy Z Fold 8 Wide just leaked with a major downgrade compared to the standard Fold 8, at least on paper. But the crazy part, this could actually end up being Samsung's smartest foldable strategy yet. Here's why. So let's talk cameras first, because this is where things get interesting. The Galaxy Z Fold 8 Wide is reportedly using a 50-megapixel main sensor with an f1.8 aperture instead of the massive 200-megapixel camera expected on the regular Fold 8. That 50-megapixel sensor is likely the same one Samsung uses in the base Galaxy S26 and S26 Plus, while the standard Fold 8 gets the flagship level 200-megapixel setup, similar to the S26 Ultra and last year's Fold 7. And yes, the difference between f1.7 and f1.8 might sound tiny, but in low-light photography, it absolutely matters. The standard Fold 8 will almost certainly pull ahead when it comes to detail, brightness, and overall camera performance. But here's the thing people are missing. The Fold 8 Wide is not trying to beat the Fold 8. Samsung seems to be creating a more affordable foldable without completely sacrificing the experience. Because if you've used recent Galaxy phones, you already know Samsung's 50-megapixel cameras are still incredibly good in real-world use. This is not a bad camera by any means, it's just not ultra-level hardware. Now here's where the Fold 8 Wide starts fighting back. Both phones are expected to share the exact same 50-megapixel ultra-wide camera with an f1.9 aperture, and that's a huge upgrade over the Fold 7, which only had a 12-megapixel ultra-wide sensor. So while the Wide loses ground on the main camera, it actually gains a serious improvement in ultra-wide photography. In fact, this ultra-wide setup is rumored to be on the same level as the Galaxy S26 Ultra. That alone makes the Fold 8 Wide way more competitive than people expected. And then there's Apple. The upcoming iPhone Ultra Foldable is rumored to feature dual 48-megapixel cameras. So suddenly, Samsung's dual 50-megapixel setup on the Fold 8 Wide doesn't look weak at all. It actually puts Samsung right into the fight. For selfies and video calls, both Fold 8 models are expected to use identical 10-megapixel front cameras on both the inner and outer displays, so no compromises there. The real difference outside of cameras is the form factor. The standard Fold 8 looks more traditional and productivity-focused, while the Wide seems designed to feel more compact and easier to use one-handed. Under the hood, though, Samsung isn't holding back. Both devices are expected to run the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 for Galaxy with up to 16 gigabytes of RAM, so performance-wise, these phones should be monsters. According to reports from Samsung insiders and sources like Sam Mobile and Galaxy Club, the Galaxy Z Fold 8 Wide is expected to launch next month during Samsung's Galaxy Unpacked event on July 22nd in London. And this won't just be another regular Fold update. This is apparently Samsung's first wide-style foldable phone. Now here's where things get really interesting. The biggest surprise from the leak is the camera setup. Unlike the regular Galaxy Z Fold 8, which is expected to have a triple camera system, the Z Fold 8 Wide is reportedly going with only 2 rear cameras. Yeah, Samsung is actually cutting one camera here. But before you panic, the specs still sound pretty solid. The phone is expected to feature a 50-megapixel main camera with an f.1.8 aperture, alongside an ultra-wide camera with an f.1.9 aperture. And both cameras are expected to support autofocus, which is actually huge for ultra-wide shots and close-up video recording. And yes, it still supports 8K video recording at 30 FPS. For selfies, Samsung is apparently adding 2 separate 10-megapixel front cameras, one on the cover screen and another hidden inside the foldable display for tablet mode. So no matter how you're using the phone, Samsung wants the camera experience to stay consistent. But honestly, the real story here might be the design. This thing is thin. According to the leak, the Galaxy Z Fold 8 Wide measures just 4.9 millimeters when unfolded. That is insanely slim for a foldable phone. Folded, it's around 9.8 millimeters thick, which is still very impressive considering this device has a giant folding display inside. And speaking of displays, Samsung is reportedly using a 5.4-inch outer screen paired with a massive 7.6-inch inner foldable panel. That wider layout could completely change how multitasking feels on a foldable. Apps may finally look more natural without that super narrow front screen problem some Fold users complain about. Now, powering all of this is Qualcomm's Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 chip built on a 3nm process, so performance should be absolutely crazy here. We're talking flagship gaming, AI features, multitasking, editing videos, all without breaking a sweat. RAM options are expected to start at 12GB and go up to 16GB, with storage configurations ranging from 256GB all the way to 1TB. So Samsung clearly wants this to feel ultra premium. Battery-wise, there is one compromise. The Galaxy Z Fold 8 Wide reportedly packs a 4,800 mAh battery, slightly smaller than the standard Fold 8's expected 5,000 mAh cell. And honestly, that probably comes down to the thinner body and wider folding mechanism. But Samsung is still expected to include 45-watt wired charging and possibly 25-watt wireless charging, so at least charging speeds should remain solid. And then there's the color. The leak says Samsung's signature color for the Fold 8 Wide will be a dark green finish, and if the renders are accurate, this thing could end up looking insanely clean. Samsung usually saves exclusive colors for devices they really want to push hard, so this wide variant might actually become the star of the Fold lineup this year. But the bigger picture here is competition. Samsung clearly sees Apple coming. Rumors about Apple's foldable iPhone have been getting louder recently, and Samsung looks like they're trying to dominate every foldable category before Apple even enters the market. A thinner design, a wider form factor, flagship specs, and premium styling, this feels like Samsung preparing for a serious battle. So yeah, the Galaxy Z Fold 8 Wide is shaping up to be one of the most interesting foldables Samsung has ever made. But now I want to know your opinion. Would you actually buy a super thin wide foldable with only 2 rear cameras, or is losing the third camera a complete deal breaker for you? And do you think Samsung can stay ahead before Apple finally launches its foldable iPhone? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe for more insane smartphone leaks and tech updates, because things are about to get crazy this year. Peace out.